When I was younger, I used to fantasize about, you know, video ideas and projects which I could have done years prior to the time of, thinking about it. And I just fantasize about having a different past basically. And I started thinking about that, this morning. What could I have done when I was younger, around 15 years old. And then I realized that the time when I was 15, I was doing the same thing, thinking about what I could have done before then. And, if it doesn't really matter, I realized it don't really matter that, uh, I didn't do it in the past. I can always just do things now. And my mind makes up excuses about, well, you can't do it now because that's old stuff. I'm not interested in that anymore. Or like nobody else is interested in it and stuff like that. My in my case, it's kind of making modifications for video games, for example. So uh, when I was about 15, I remember just being in the garden like I am now, just thinking about things like, what if the past was a bit different and I was a bit more productive, and I thought about, making a bunch of mods for Tekken. Um, mods that I never actually created, but I just had ideas for them. And yeah, I mean, I could have just done it then, thinking about but back in the day, I thought something well, it would have been better if I did it a lot earlier on, because that's when the game was more new and more relevant. But the truth is, it's kind of truth is, there's still a lot of people playing these games. It don't matter how old something is, like a game like Tekken, for example. If it's a good game, people are gonna still be playing it. And there's a lot of truth to that. There's proof on the internet that a lot of people still play the old Tekken games. Not I'm not talking about Tekken 7 and 8. I'm talking about 1, 2, 3, the first tag game. Those ones. Because I only like those ones. I hate the fucking new ones. So, but thinking about it, I could have just done it at that time rather than fantasizing about having a different past. So I don't know. So as I started doing the same thing, today, I thought, why can't I just do it now? And I think the answer is, well, it would have been a lot better if I did it back then, because then I'd have a lot more, time and a lot more room to just do things now. But it's gonna be 5 years into the future again, and I'm gonna say, oh, I could have done that when I was 20, 21, 22. So I think I need to stop thinking that I can't do it, because it's it's only something I would have done in the past. It's as long as I'm alive, I can do anything I want to. So, and time doesn't matter, and it's I base time off of what other people see it. So it's kind of if a game is old, it's not relevant anymore. I see it through the lenses of other people, and it's yeah, I guess it's dead, But I think if I truly love something and I want to do something, it's why should I think about what other people want? Maybe if I made mods for old games that nobody cares about, maybe it would introduce more. There might be people coming back to it, or people interested in it again. So it's not like a lost cause really. You might as well try it, but it's yeah. Also, I remember when I was younger, about 15, 16, it's I had these really cool ideas, but I never did them because I didn't know any better. And I think as I'm getting older, I'm starting to accept the fact that if I don't learn how to use tools and do things, then I'm not gonna be able to do anything. So I might as well learn and make the learning process fun. And that's what I've been doing. I've been learning programming recently, like mostly Python. And I do admit I've been using like ChatGPT to help me a lot, but I want to get to the point where it's like, stop using AI and just like can make scripts on my own. Because I'm aware of the idea that I'm aware of like if you're dependent on AI, you're basically fucking useless because you can't write scripts without AI if you don't have internet access, and that's the situation I'm in now. So I'm going to try and learn from like videos on the internet and like articles, and maybe like ask ChatGPT to help me with it. Because it's also like with parents, for example. If you get them to do everything for you all the time, you're not actually learning anything. You're just like living another day. They're cooking a meal for you. You're not learning how to cook that. And it's like the most valuable thing to an individual is to learn how to do things rather than having things done for you. Because if it's done for you, you just ain't gonna learn. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to keep saying it, but yeah. Um, and I think we live in a world where it's like a lot of things is done for us nowadays, so it's a lot harder to try and create things and be innovative. And I think it's probably like part of an agenda. Really, it's probably all planned, or maybe it's just like you know the side effect of having such like good technology is that one half of the world is so knowledgeable about all these things and smart, and the other half is just dumb and they have no idea what they're doing, and they don't give a shit. They just want to use these toys, these like these you know sources of entertainment, and they don't give a shit how it's made or what's inside it. And I think that lack of like curiosity is not very beneficial for anyone at all. Uh, so yeah, like and so I think about when I was like 15, 16. I really wish like a lot of things of what I'm doing now. I really wish I did it back then, but it's kind of like when I get to the age of 50 or something, I'll be thinking, um, you know, maybe I might be thinking, I wish I realised these things when I was 21, 22. But I'm starting to think now that, when I get to the age of 50, I'll be like, I'm glad I learnt those things at that age, because it was a difficult, world to try and learn new things with all these distractions and shit. And even though it is difficult to like ignore these distractions, it's kind of like I'm not the average person who's got a phone and like scrolls on TikTok and YouTube and all that, like doom scrolling. It's like um I don't have it as bad as them really, because I just have a laptop and I use YouTube for like entertainment. That's about it. I don't use anything else. But YouTube is still quite distracting. Its algorithms are just like they're made so it just like fucks with you, the way of thinking basically, like. And yeah, I need to really like stop like looking at YouTube for a while, but it is kind of addictive. Like I find myself just really wanting to like go on it sometimes, so I need to like stop that habit. I think everyone should. You'd benefit a lot from it actually. And I feel sorry for people who've got like traumas and stuff, and they use it as like comfort. And like if they ever did like try and quit, you know, watching YouTube and TikTok and like porn and all that, I can imagine how difficult it would be for them, because as soon as they stop, the their thoughts will come back, and all the memories and shit, and it's quite difficult, and it's a really horrible thing, really, like when you think about it, and I feel for anyone who's going through that, but I want to remind you that you are a human being and you are stronger than you think, you know. Even if you get shot in the head, your body will still probably try to keep breathing to get oxygen to it. That's how fucking resilient the human body and mind is. It's a thing called agonal breathing. It's quite disturbing, actually. Like, I only knew about it yesterday because after watching a video of a guy that was like streaming, and shot himself. I think you probably know what I'm talking about if you're watching this quite recently after uploading. But like, anyway, yeah, like, the body is wired to just survive, but it's not wired to, like, deal with trauma and difficult situations in the correct way, because our technology is advancing, but our bodies aren't. Our DNA was still like prehistoric creatures. We can't really evolve that fast. Our brains can change to fit this like highly technological environment, but it's like not much really changes like in such a short time, and a lot has changed in technology in such a short time. So yeah, it's quite an interesting time we live in, and there's a lot of people out there that are quite depressed, and they're struggling, and if you're one of those people that are listening to this, I completely understand. I probably don't exactly know what it's like to be clinically depressed, because I've never been clinically depressed. And quite honestly, most of the time I feel quite happy in myself, but there's a lot of people that, aren't quite so, and, I understand that. And I feel, I hope, like, people can just get better and just, like, move on from all this, like, stale bullshit, mediocre life. I think it helps being autistic, to be honest with you, like neurodivergent, because you kind of like, you got more like active neural pathways that just like, it's hard to explain. But your mind's a lot more open when you're like neurodivergent, and but there are like limitations. There's some people that are a lot, who are neurodivergent, who are a lot more easily manipulated. So I'm not saying that everyone that's neurodivergent is like a god or anything, but when you've got the right education and understanding about the world, and you've got decent parents, it is quite a gift to have. But there's a lot of people who are neurodivergent, and they have shit parents, shit fucking education, and like shit fucking life, and that can really make it go the opposite way, really, and convince you that life is hell. And it could very well be hell, but I've seen a lot of great things. I've experienced a lot of great times, and I have a lot of hope in the world. It's not just about all the bad shit. I know it's hard to not focus on the bad stuff, because our minds we're programmed to focus on bad stuff, so we're not in any danger. But you know our bodies and our minds, if we still think, it still thinks we're like living life like it was thousands of years ago. We haven't changed much since technology has changed. So yeah, anyway, that's probably enough for like ramble. I'm getting quite cold out here. I've only got a t-shirt on. The sun was out earlier though, it was quite nice, but now it's just gone a bit windy and I'm a bit chilly, so I'm gonna go in.